Shalom. This is the brother Shaquat Gabar, once again coming at you with another lesson from the Great Millstone, South Carolina camp. And before I get into my lesson, I want to start off giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rekal Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone that rule well, and salutation to the fellow laborers that's out there pushing His word day in and day out, the hopeful elect, doing the ministry of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai in all truth and sincerity. So once again, this message to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are the true biblical Hebrew Israelites, and the confused faces who bloodline go back to Negro, Latino, and Native American descent by the seed of the Father, man. You know, because the Lord is only dealing with Israel when you look into the scriptures and get the understanding through the Spirit that the Lord is only dealing with Israel, man. You know, but I'm going to just get into a lesson about, you know, the contention, why there's so much contention and, you know, discourse and hatred between the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans against the so-called white people, which are the biblical Edomites. And all of it is in the Bible, man. You know, so I'm going to get into a quick article going on about a historical event that happened hundreds of years ago in the year of 1919. And the historical event is called Red Summer, when you had a bunch of Edomites, so-called white people, you know, that riot during those times, and a lot of you so-called blacks, which are the tribe of Judah, was murdered in the process, man, during that summer of 1919, showing you that the Edomites are our enemy. And the reason why I'm going to get into this lesson, you know, so you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, hopefully through the Spirit, have the understanding through the scriptures given to us by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, that we're not supposed to trust our enemies. You know, because to this day, man, our people's thinking that Esau, the so-called white man, is their friend, thinking that he's the savior, thinking that we got to go to him, you know, for guidance, you know, not coming back into their true power, man. And the Lord has set up His true men to give the understanding, man, to show you that there's only one true power, and that's Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. And they are both are dark-skinned entities, where you will so-called call today Negroes, not the so-called white man. The so-called white man is our enemy, and he's the devil, the wicked that the Bible speak of. You know, so I'm going to go into, you know, history. You know, because a lot of our people is confused, man. They know they're trying to throw slavery and the slaughter of the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You know, they'll throw that away. Like that didn't matter, man. Like that don't have an effect on us today, man. You know, what they like to say, forgive and forget. When you bring up the atrocities of these so-called white people, they you know, they track record of wickedness and all the slaughter that they did to the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You know what they'll say, man, is reverse racism. Now we the racists. Well, they're the first ones that started it, man. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the article, and I'm going to grab some scriptures proving that the Bible is real, especially when it comes to the two main nations that's here on the planet Earth that the Lord is using to do His will. And that's the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the Israelites, and the so-called white race, which are the Edomites. So I'm going to go ahead and get into this article. And this is an article from Atlanta BlackStar.com, and it reads, Red Summer, 100 years later, when the white mob was unleashed on black America. And this, you know, article is recent, a couple of days ago, July the 28th, 2019. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it. And it says, in 1919, white mobs throughout the nation descend upon black communities, lynching black people and destroying homes and business in what was known as the Red Summer. This year marks the central of what has has become known as the Red Summer, and they're not going to teach you this in majority of the school systems, man. You know, they give you Negroes a selection in the school when it comes to certain courses, and that only course they want to give you is Black History Month. That's the main thing they focus on, man. And give you mainly Martin Luther King, which was a puppet unto the elites, a sellout, man. But that's all they push, man. They don't push the true history of our people being slaughtered in this place, man, in this wicked kingdom known as America, Babylon the Great, as the Bible states it, man. They want you to forget about the slavery, the hardcore slavery of us coming over here on cargo slave ships, the slaughter of the Native Americans, and the indigenous people of this land. They want you to forget about all the lynchings, the civil war, or the civil rights movement, because they are ashamed of that history. But as I continue on going into the article, and it says America was stained red with the blood of black victims who were lynched, burned, shot, and beaten to death by white mobs across the country. That's that hatred that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua put on these Edomites to come up against us, man. Because they are the wicked and we are the righteous. And Esau is rejected by the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. The Lord do not deal with you Edomites, man. He's against you so-called white people. And that's biblical, man. And they don't want to hear that. So that's why Esau going to come down once again with that great wrath against you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And Esau know his history, man. These so-called white people, these elites, they know their history about how we're the Lord chosen people and how the Lord chose us to be over them, man. And they hate us for that, man. As I'm going to get into Genesis, the 25th chapter, man. Going into the foundation of Israel against Esau, man. Edom. And it says, black victims who was lynched, burned, shot, and beaten to death by white mobs across the country. In what is regarded as one of the worst periods of white on black mob violence in the U.S. history. Over 10 months in at least 25 riots, more than 250 black people were killed with impunity, and thousands saw their homes and business destroyed in the confliction, all without justice being served and conquered. These so-called white people, man, they look down upon you Negroes, man. They label us as what in their constitution, 3/5 of a man. We ain't nothing but dogs, monkeys. Look at it nothing but a low life. But in all actuality, we the Lord chosen people, and they the low lives, man. They the ones that's the basis of men. Out of all nations that the Lord had created, you what so-called white people are the least nation out of all nations, man. That the Lord despised, man. But this right here showing you the hatred that the so-called white man got for you so-called blacks, man. Especially you Negroes, the Judites, man. The tribe of Judah, because we are the head tribe, man. The Negroes here in America, and they're scattered throughout the entire planet Earth, man. Through slavery, man. Through the curses that the Lord put upon us for being rebellious, man. So that's why the so-called white man, is over us, man. First of all, for the Lord's purpose to show the difference between righteous and wickedness. We are said to be the righteous, and you Edomites, you so-called whites, which are red, because Edom means red, are the wicked, man. And the Lord set you up over us for our punishment, for us going off against the law, statutes, and commandments that he gave to us, man, that we supposed to keep. And that's why we're being punished till this day under the rulerships of you Edomites. And it says, a number of factors, circumstances were for the Red Summer during World War I, were men serving the military and restricted immigrants police. The East and the Midwest experienced labor shortage. This was also the time of the Great Migration, where hundreds and thousands of African Americans, which are the so-called Negroes, which are Israelites, man. Because we are not Africans, Americans. You know, Africa is named after a so-called white man, and America. Africa named after Africanos, Luis Africanos, I believe that is named. And America is named after Americo Vespucci, man. Two so-called white men. Of African Americans left in the South to escape Jim Crow terror, oppression, exploitation. Working white class resent black workers as potential economy competitors. So that's why these so-called white people hate us, man. Because they know we're the Lord's chosen people, man. They hate that spirit that's with us, man. And one thing about the so-called Negroes, mainly the so-called Negroes, we are conquerors, man. Anything that we touch, man, the Lord bless us with, man. That's why majority of the world is built off the slavery, off the bloodshed of the Negroes, man. We created everything, man. You know, we built all things, man, through our slavery, through the mindset of the Lord being with us, the Israelites, and making all type of inventions that make this world go round, man, that make this place and our enemies rich, man, that they stole from us, man, but don't want to give us the credit that we create these things, man, because they know that we're a threat to their society, man. That's why you're seeing Esau coming more and more now, showing his horns against you Negroes, man, because he's seeing how we been growing in this kingdom, man. Well, you got a lot of so-called white people, more and more homeless, you know, more, you know, starting to be more employed. Or you got, on the other hand, you got a lot of blacks that's finding success here in America, man. You know, becoming richer than the so-called whites here in America, you know, and they can't stand that, man, because they're starting to see the ones that they look down upon as slaves, you know, niggas, coming up over them, man. So now Esau's coming against us, man, to show his true horn, man. But in all actuality, it's the Spirit of the Lord, especially when it comes to this truth, man, that the Lord is raising up Israel, not blacks or Negroes or Latinos, you know, of our people thinking in that mindset, thinking in these false identities, you know, thinking in the ways of these religions. But a real threat is us coming back to our true nationality, us claiming our power, man, you know, and pushing the downfall of this place. And that's really getting under these Edomites' skin, man. The ones of Israel, man, that's in the know. Continue on, and it says, according to Dr. George Herbert Haynes, who wrote a report on Red Summer, the presence of punished lynching fueled a white male mob mentality and forced a sense of self-defense among thousands of black veterans who had served the war and migrated out of the South. In such a state of public mind, Hearns write, a trivial incident can precipitate a riot. The violence of Red Summer took place in North and South alike, with Charleston, South Carolina, as the first location to experience bloodshed. White sailors set off riots after attacking a black man who refused to step off the sidewalk for them, while other white gang killed a black man in a pool hall. Hundreds of white sailors descend upon the black community, some who was armed themselves and fought back. So that's how the contention was, man, even back then. You had a lot of so-called Negroes, you know, that went to war, you know, for this government, man, for America during the time of World War I. You know, and when they came back from during the time of war, you know, thinking that the war over, but not only to know that the real war began between the whites, man, who they want to serve, man, you know, and want to obey. You know, so they went over there and fight the so-called white man war just to return home and still had to fight, man. Thought they were going to do something for freedom, you know, for recognition. You know, not knowing that the whole time, man, the real war was within their own captivity, man, against the enemies, the so-called white people who they looked up to, man. And it's gonna be like that in this time, man. When the food get, shut off, you know, the power grid, the water, the electricity, the these 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 liberty, what they call so-called liberty of our people can, go around and, work, shop and eat, go out for amusement, entertainment, living their life careless, thinking that the so-called white man set them free. But the Most High gonna show you through the Edomites, man, that they are the devil, and they still have that hatred for you, man. Why you think the so-called black man and Latino or Native American man steady getting shot down and no justice for them, man, by these policemen or by these average whites out here, man? Because they want to remind you of that hatred that they got for you Negroes. But through this false doctrine of Christianity and the false lies of America, where they tell you blacks, man, forgive and forget. God love everybody. But that's not so, man. So the Lord is about to put the spirit, here in America with a great division, man, between the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans against you so-called white people, man, and vice versa, man. Because we was never meant to get along, man. And that's scripture, man. After I finish reading this article, I'm going to go into Genesis, man, the 25th chapter, and show you where it all began from, the contention between the blacks, here in America, and the whites. And it says other cities were hit as well in Pittsburgh. So it don't talk about from the South, here in South Carolina, because that's what, camp I'm from, in the South Carolina camp, man. And we see the hatred with these so-called white people, man. How they look down upon Jake, man. How we got a slave, even up to this day, on these plantations, man. Just to so-called to have a living. But we know that this place is done, man. The brothers in the know. And I see a bunch of, like I say, man, what we call them, man, coons, man. Sellouts of our people that want to still please this so-called white man. And they still getting shitted on, man. Still having that Esau, Edom, these so-called white people still have that hatred towards us and still show it. But somehow they still want to forgive and forget, not knowing that the Lord set this man up to be our enemy, and the day gonna come where we're gonna rule over them. But Jake gonna have to learn the hard way, man. When Esau come in with that martial law, and when this race war and these race riots break loose, and when all hell break loose, when they go depending on this so-called white man, he leave him out to dry, man. So now he's talking about in Pittsburgh, man, and that's up north, man, showing you that the same Edomites in the South is no different from the Edomites up north, Midwest, or wherever they scatter out throughout the earth, where they ruling over you Negroes, man, and you Latinos and Native Americans. Because that's the spiritual battle, man. And it says, it said other cities were hit at as well as Pittsburgh. The claim posted notice in black communities. The war is over. Negroes, stay in your place. If you don't, we put you there. Kind of show you, man. Even when these Negro men back then that fought World War I for America, man, when they came back home, man, the so-called whites here in America let them know that you ain't nothing but a nigger, man. Know your role, or we will remind you of that, man. That we are your enemies and we're above you, man. That's what they stated, man. But still to this day, our people want to go out there and fight these wars, for the so-called white man. Not knowing this history, man, or Red Summer during 1919, man. Just like those Negroes back then, those Hispanics back then that fought this war for the so-called white man during World War I, they thought they had a chance in America after fighting for them, fighting their wars. When they came back, man, they found themselves being disappointed when these devils came up against them, man. And that's going on now, man. You got contention between the military, blacks and whites, the police force, firemen. It's all over, man. Because we was never set up to get along with these so-called white people. And the Bible is going to prove that. It says on September the 28th, 1919, a white lynch mob in Omaha, Nebraska, gathered after a white woman, Angus Liebert, accused Will Brown, a black man, of rape. The whites burned down the Douglas County courthouse and lynched Brown, where he was being held. Con, man, just showing you, man, how the history, man, how these devils think, man, how they feel about you so-called Negroes, man. So I'm going to go ahead and, just the article, if brothers want to go on into for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and finish the last bit of the article, get into the last, paragraph, but it's a pretty good article showing you how these devils, felt about us, man. In history like this, the Red Summer, man, supposed to, be a knowledge to you so-called Negroes to keep you in the mindset of how these devils feel about us, man. Even from 100 years ago to now, man. So I'm going to read this last little bit and I'm going to get into the scriptures. And it says, typically called race riots or examples of racial unrest, Red Summer was the handiwork of anti-black, white lynch mob violence. Following Red Summer, the civil rights and anti-lynching movements was given new life, and the NCAAP membership increased from 9,000 to 100,000 members. He's going, when they set that up, man, they ain't been a bunch of this whole thing about the NAACP, man. You blacks that thought you had a right after the so-called civil rights movements, pushing it by the, these sellouts during the time of the 19th century, or the years of 1960, to the 1970s, thinking you Negroes want to segregate and join hand in hand with the so-called white man. Well, all that was just set up to get you Negroes under his control, man. Here he done slaughter you for years, but now people want to join hand with him, man. And the scripture says that those that join hand in hand to the wicked, they both shall be thrust through. So the ones of our people that want to side with the enemy, man, and follow the wicked ways of America, they're going to be destroyed when Yahweh shall come back and bring judgment on these Edomites, man. So he's going to bring judgment on the wicked, but he also going to bring judgment on the wicked of our people, man, that want to be joined hand in hand with these devils, man. And that was the whole thing about the NAACP, man, to get you Negroes pacified, want to be up under the white man and trust in his system. And he set up puppets of our people, that was in the black boule, masonry, to have them to set up over the bird brain Negroes, the simple Negroes, thinking they had a chance here in America, man. But ever since then, man, we were still to this day on the bottom, man. And still to this day, NAACP is not doing nothing for you Negroes, man. And it says, in today's era of white racial backlash and white supremacist violence, much had been forgotten about the massacre of Red Summer, because they want you to forget, man. They don't want Negroes to think about things like that, man. But they'll tell you to remember the Holocaust, for that fake false flag, man. Set up so-called white people, you Amalekites, which from the tribe of Edom, could took our land and claim it as yours, man, and took our nationality, man. So you're gonna have to pay for that, man, because the real Holocaust is the slaughter of the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And it says, and had been forgotten about the massacre of Red Summer, though that is changed. For example, the National Memorial for Peace and Justice and Legacy Museum in Montgomery, Alabama, documents the history of lynching in America and future exhibits on Red Summer. But our people don't want to look at stuff like that, man. They don't want to go to the museum. Esau still so much the devil, man. He even, sometimes he put the truth out there, man. But our people so simple, man. They don't look at stuff like this, man. They don't go to the ancient museums and know about the lynchings and the massacres of our people, man. The dark ages once we ruled, man. Esau got all that information here in America, man. But our people don't like stuff like that, man. You know, it's a saying that says if you want to hide anything from a nigga, put it in a book, man. Because majority of our people, they don't read, they don't have no type of knowledge when it comes to their own history. And when it comes to spirituality, man, especially these scriptures, man, which is their book, which is our heritage, man. But what our people rather shown, you know, true understanding in history, but instead they want to go on into folly, man. Look at this mindset, the mindset of our people, man. Worrying about the sports, NFL season, NBA season, you know, all these folly, man. All these unnecessary things don't have to do with them, man. You know, they know about all the hottest trend, the music, you know, the fashion, what's on World Star Hip Hop, what's on Facebook, Snapchat, or Twitter, or Instagram, you know. Instead of snapping into reality, man, they want to be in a fantasy world, man, thinking that everything's cool and acting like we're not at war right now, man. Acting like these devils are not planning to come down upon us and come against us, man, as they always has been doing. And it says, American Black Holocaust, there you go, the real Holocaust, man. That's the spirit right there, man. So this is a real Holocaust, man. Or you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Not you false Jews, man. Not you Amalekites, man. You Edomites that lied and stole everything. And it says America Black Holocaust Museum features digital exhibits on the victims of lynching and Red Summer. While visualizing the Red Summer is a comprehensive digital achievement, timeline and map of the lynching and riots of 1919, the Ellen Massacre Memorial is being constructed and is set to open in September. In August, federal anti-lynching legislation passed in the Senate just last year, a century after the such legislation was first introduced. And it says, remember, Red Summer is the key to preventing lynching and other future racial events, which is not going to happen, man, because it's the spirit of the Lord, man. You know, so that's just a quick article, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and get in. I'm gonna do for time's sake. I'm gonna just go ahead and get into the script. The points that basically already made, man. You know, about the tension between the so-called blacks here in America and the so-called whites, man. Go back to the Bible, man. You know, and the so-called blacks, you know, our nation is stand out of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Israel, man, because we are the true Israelites. And you so-called whites, your nation is stand out of Abraham, Isaac, and Edom, or Esau, man. And the Lord rejected you Edomites, man, as I get into it, man. This is Genesis chapter 27, verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessed my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. So this is going into when the Lord had Isaac to bless Jacob and Esau, man. And when you read it early on in the chapter, Genesis the 25th chapter, you know, it tells you about how Esau and Jacob came about being born, and he was twins, man. But the Lord had separated them, man. And the Lord said that one shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. But Esau, you so-called white people, your forefather, came out first, man. You are the biblical Edomites, man. And you're going to serve us, man. And how you going to serve us? When Yahweh shall return and set up our kingdom, you know. Because we're going to bring your kingdom down through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shah. And you witnessing that now through the prophets rising up and condemning this place and coming back to who they are, man, in the spirit, man. You know, coming back to the true power, clinging on to the true inheritance, that we're not blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, that these false gods that you push are not going to save us. They're not real. If you're going to trust in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, he's going to come back and bring your kingdom down, man. And that's what these Edomites are afraid of, man, because they know that their time is up. But going into the hatred that Esau, you so-called white people, have for us, man, going back to the beginning of it, man. You know, this is on Genesis, and Genesis meaning the beginning. Genesis chapter 27, verse 38. And Esau said unto him, unto his father, hast thou not but one blessing? Yeah, because the Lord set up Jacob to get Esau blessing. Because according to the scriptures, man, the elder supposed to get the first blessing, man. You know, but the Lord rejected Esau by making him sell his birthright to Jacob, man. So Jacob ended up getting the blessing. And on top of that, Rebekah, through the Spirit, set Jacob up to pretend that he was Esau and stole his blessing when the time came for Isaac to give the blessings out to Jacob and Esau, man. You know, and the blessing that Jacob had got was to be ruler over everything, man, including the Edomites, man. Because that's how Yahweh Bashim Yahushua set it up, man. You know, this is the Most High will, man. So the Lord set up Jacob, you know, to supplant, because the word Jacob means supplant, to supplant the forefathers of you so-called whites, the Edomites, Esau, so he can prove his will, man. This is Romans chapter 9, verse 9. For this is the word of promise, at this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son. Not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac, for the children being not yet born, neither have done any good or evil, yet the purpose of Yahweh according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that called him. So this is the Most High will, man. The Lord set up Jacob to supplant Esau, just to get his blessing, and he can have the rulership, man. You know, so you Edomites got to take it up with the Lord, man. You know, and that's a battle that you're not going to win, man. Because all this is the purpose of the Lord, man. So when you're going to find out that the Lord is not about all love, man. You know, the Lord can be fair, he can be unfair if he wants to, man. And he's unfair to you heathens, man. Not, you know, not really being unfair, because he giving you your chance to rule now, man. You Edomites and the rest of you heathens that's outside of the nation of Israel, man. But this is the Lord's will, man, to set up the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans be his chosen people over you heathens that's soon to come. And it says, and it was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. So Esau came out being the first, the elder. And he's going to serve the younger, Jacob, man. You know, so you so-called white people, you Edomites, are going to serve the Israelites, man, soon to come. And you're seeing that now, us coming back in the power by the way of knowing this understanding of the truth and proclaiming the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, waking up the elect, man, and condemning the downfall of this place that the Lord is going to come back and destroy. And it says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. And that's the Lord saying that, man. He loved the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Jacob, Israel, man. And he hate Esau, man. Why he hate you Edomites, man? Because you're contrary to everything that the Lord pushes, man. You know, the Lord tell us to, you know, to establish this world amongst the law, statutes, and commandments, you know, that was given to us. But you took it and blasphemed, you know, switch everything up, man. Pushing homosexuality, pedophilia, witchcraft, you know, murder, sex changes, all type of wickedness, man. That's contrary to the Lord's law, statute, commandments, you know. And so the Lord is going to judge you for that, man. The Lord is not going to let you Edomites, you so-called whites, get all scot-free, man, and thinking that everything's going to be good. You know, even us, we have to punish, man. Be punished for disobedience of the laws, statutes, and commandments. So how much more you devils that the Lord reject, man, you Edomites. And it says, when shall we say then, is there unrighteousness with the Most High? Yahweh forbid. For he has said to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So this is the Lord program, man. So even though we went off as a nation, you know, it's still the Lord's purpose to have us to be his chosen people, man. Because he put his name on us, man. His spirit upon us. His promise upon us. That's the whole thing about who the world called Christ, Yahweh Shai. Dying, man, for the Israelites only, man. So he can keep the promise to us, man. Because once upon a time, the Lord had done away with us with being a nation, man, for a moment, man. But now the Lord is showing his mercy upon us by waking us up and having his son, Yahweh Shai, be that sacrificial lamb and being risen up to come back to claim his glory and the heritage, the promise that he gave unto the Israelites. And Yahweh Shai is the Israelite himself, man, from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, from the seed of David, man, which are the seed of David is the so-called Negroes today, which are the Judites, man. So the Lord is the so-called Judite, so-called Negro, man, which are Judah. You know, so going back to Genesis chapter 25, verse select 27, verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, the dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dwell of the heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shall serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou hast had dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck and come. So that's how Esau established his kingdom to this day, man. By the way of the sword, man. Now he got the land of America, you know, and different other lands, man. Starting off with Alexander the Great, the Greek, what they call the Roman Empire, the pagan Roman Empire, where he conquered all those other nations, man, by the way of his sword, man, his military might. And he still reigned by his military might, his sword to this day, man. You know. And it said, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing, whereas his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father's father are at hand. Then when I slay my brother Jacob. So Esau still had that hatred for us, man. You know? Esau still had that hatred, man. That never changed, man. That's just a symbolic sign right there showing you that to this day, man, Esau always seek to destroy us, man, and have slaves, man, for the blessing that the Lord rejected him and received us, man, to be his people. This is the book of, I believe this, I'm trying to look for the book of Obadiah. The book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 8. Shall I not in that day, say the Lord, even destroy the wise man out of Edom, and understanding out of the mountain of Esau? And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one on the mountain of Esau shall be cut off by slaughter. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. So that's one of the main reasons also why the Lord is going to come back, you know, to punish you so-called white people, man, for the violence that you've done against us, man. The Israelites, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. All the slaughter, man. And I just read an example of a mass slaughter in that article, Red Summer, man, during the time of 1919, man, 100 years ago, man. You know, the Lord hasn't forgot about that, man, and other different atrocities that you've done unto us, man. For the Lord say that the ones that touches us, touches the apple of his eye, man. You know. Now look all the atrocities that you've done, man. The Red Summer, you know. The so-called civil rights movement, slavery in itself, you know, just doing all type of madness and wickedness against us, man. So the Lord is going to pay you devils back, man. And that's what time we in, man. That's what you're seeing. Now you're starting to see, man, most of the Jakes, man, they stepping up, man. They're raising up, man. You know, they're raising up due to the fact that that these devils showing their horn, man. Now the Lord is bringing that division, man, because that's what the Lord is coming to bring, man, and set up division. Now you start to see blacks and Latinos and Native Americans, even ones that's outside of the truth, you know, starting to come to, you know, senses that this man is the devil, man. Because it is going to be a great race war, man. But that's how the spirit moves, man. That's how the Lord wanted, man. For the Lord is a man of war. And he's about division, man. Why you think there's so much race wars and, you know, contentions between nations, you know, because the Lord is about war, man. Especially when it comes between the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans and the so-called whites. Israel versus Edom. See, the whole concept of what this world betrayed the Lord to be, man, is off, man. The Lord is not all about love, all about bringing nations together. The Lord is about division, destruction, you know, rulership, man. One nation over others, man. And at this time, man, is the Lord about to raise up us, man. The rulership of the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, starting off with Yahweh Shah, you know, the Israelites ruling over you Edomites, man. That's what time we coming into, man. This is Genesis, chapter 49, verse 8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brothers shall praise. And you seen that, man. You know, who's the brothers of Judah, man? The Latinos and the Native Americans, the rest of the tribes of Israel, man. And Judah, the head tribe, so when Judah rises up, man, you're going to see the Latino tribes, the Mexican tribes, and the Native American tribes rise up, man. You know, because all the slaughter didn't just fall on the Negroes, man. You slaughter also the other tribes too, man. The Latino tribes and the Native Americans, the Mexicans, the Seminole Indians, you know. So when Judah rises up through that spirit, man, the Lord is going to raise up the other tribes too, man. And you seeing that now on a spiritual tip with the prophets coming back together, man. Not just the blacks, man, or, you know, or the tribe of Judah, got stepping up, or rising up, you know, prophesying the downfall of this kingdom, man, condemning you Edomites, the Latino tribes and the Native American tribes as well, and the confused faces, man. You know, because we're in the time of the Lord raising us up, man, and bringing you Edomites down. And it said, Judah, thou art he whom thy brothers shall praise. Thy hand shall be at the neck of thy enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is the lion's whelp. For the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he crouches as a lion, and as an old lion. Who shall rouse him up? Come. And that's going into the Lord putting the spirit back on Judah, man. But one thing about, when you know about the ancient times, from King David, who was a Judite, you know, and from his mighty men, the whole nation of Israel, starting off with Judah, had that warrior spirit. But through our downfall and the Lord punishing us, he took that spirit from us. But now we're in the time the Lord raising up his men back into that ancient spirit, man, that warlike spirit, man. That's why there's going to be a battle, man, a race war, man. You know, even amongst the average Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that's not in this truth, man, they're going to come to a point of standing up and fighting, man. You know, by the other hand, the men of the Lord is going to get that spiritual power, man. That's another thing, too, man. You know, when these average crackers out here fighting against these average Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans on that low level when it comes to weaponry and guns and, you know, and other carnality things, you know, you're going to have those elites of these Edomites and these heathen nations coming with these super soldier suits, they super weaponry, you know, and they're gonna fight against the elect of the nation of Israel, man, with that spiritual power, man. So there's all type of wars about to take place, man. You know, and at the end of it, eventually, Yahweh Shah is gonna set up Israel over you Edomites and the rest of you heathens. You know, but now you seeing that, man. Now you seeing that old lion being roused up, man. This is Ezekiel. And these scriptures right here, man, the Most High say that he put us back in remembrance. And the Lord sent up the prophets to tell you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans that the Edomites are our enemy, man. That we're not supposed to be hand in hand with them, but prepare for war against them, man. Because we always been at war. This is Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 5. And this is talking about Esau, man. The hatred that he had and the bloodshed that he has and had done to the Negroes, man. The Latinos and Native Americans, the Israelites. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end, and they say so-called that we're supposed to be free. You know, but even since 1919, when they say that we're supposed to be free, but they ain't did nothing but transfer the ownerships of the slaves from the state to the government, doing the amalgamation of whatever it is of Abraham Lincoln, Salaki, I forgot the word of it. You know, but they said that we're supposed to be free, man. But even till then, man, from then to that 1919 red summer, from then all the way up to now, man, we still being slaughtered, man, by you so-called white people. And it's going to get worse and worse until Yahushua come back, lift up their standard, you know, and deliver us from you devils, man. And it said, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of the calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, said the Lord powers, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Constantly, the Lord's going to return the favor, man. The scripture says that a man reap what he sowed, man. So the Lord's going to return the favor, that revengeance on you Edomites, man. Now it's time for your blood to be shed. And that's why they want to take down brothers' videos, man. Because we're coming out the truth of the Bible, man. It's called payback. Here all the payback, you know, justice that the so-called white man want to get when other nations come up against him. You know, a so-called black or Latino Native American come up against him. But when we talk about the atrocities that he done against us, and all the wickedness that he had done, you know, the slaughter of us, and we want justice, all of a sudden now we wrong, man. They want to, you know, flag brother videos saying that we a hate group. But they're the first ones that show that, man. All the thing we doing is retaliating off the hatred that you showed to us, man, and that you still are doing, man. This is Ezekiel chapter 25, verse 13. Therefore, this say the Lord power, I will also stretch out my hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of the Dan shall fall by the sword. And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel, and they shall do in Edom according to my anger, according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, said the Lord Yahweh. So that's what's about to take place, man. The Lord about to raise his men up, man. You know, raise his nation up, man, to come against you Edomites, man, for this great race war, man. Not just only you Edomites, the rest of you heathens too, because you heathens had a downfall and been in league with the Edomites, man. You know, you Africans, you Hamites, you know, you Arabs, you know, you East Indians, you know, you Chinese, you Japanese, all y'all are heathens, man. And all y'all came against us, man, and being in league with the so-called white man, you know. So the Lord coming back to punish all you heathen nations, starting off with Edom. You know, get a couple of more scriptures, I'm going to wrap it up. This is Salaki, this is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 16. Therefore, all they that devoured thee shall be devoured, and all thy adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. So the Lord is going to return the favor on all you heathens, man. It's not just saying that Esau going to go down, but all you heathens that had a downfall into our slavery, man. You know, of our slaughter, man. You know, so the Lord's going to repay pay y'all back, you heathens back, by allowing us to be rulers over y'all and y'all being slaves under us, man. You know, that we're going to take all your riches. You know, we're going to have the finest things on your women, man. Have your children and, you know, your offspring to be our servants, man. That's how it's going to be, man. And there's nothing you heathens can do about it. Or there's nothing you two-thirds that don't want to believe and don't want to be on the Lord's side can do about it, man. You're just going to have to die, man, right along with the heathens, man, and come back in the kingdom in your right mind when the Lord established the kingdom. And it says, for I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, said the Lord, because they called thee an outcast, saying, this is Zion, who no man seek after. And that's how these heathens, man, you don't see these heathens, like I say, coming against the so-called white man for our aid, man. Because these heathens are in league with the so-called white man. You know, these Chinese, these Arabs, you know, these Japanese, they hate you just as much as the so-called white man. You Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Not as the much hatred that the so-called white man have for us, but as all of them are against us and against our power, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Because the Lord, in all actuality, reject all of them, man. All of them are going to be under us, man. And all of them are counted as the enemies of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So the Lord created them to be our servant, man. And that's why they have that hatred between us, man. Towards us, Salak, towards us. Because they know that we're the Lord's chosen people, and they are rejected. But here our people want to follow them, man. Want to love them. So basically, you know, that's it. In the lesson there, you know, enough said, man. You know, but basically, you don't want to get into, you know, the article and put you Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans in remembrance and inform you, man, that the Edomites, man, they are our enemy. No matter how much you want to be buddy-buddy with them, man, the Lord is coming back to bring separation eventually, man. You know, ain't going to be no all nations coming together. You know, the Lord's separating us right now, man. And it's time for to take a stand, man. You know, you're even going to be with righteous, serving Yahweh Shem Yahushua, clinging on to your heritage, and against the wickedness of this world, and against the wicked themselves, man. The Edomites, right along with the rest of these heathens, man. And if not, man, you're going to get the same judgment as these wicked heathens, man. Starting off with the so-called white man that our people love daily, man. Dearly, man. You know. But this to the hopeful, elect men, women, you know, that's out there listening, man. Mainly the men, you know, because the Lord is calling for men. The women are going to know their role being up under the men. But the men is the one that's getting ready for war, man. But we're coming into war, man. You know, not, you know, the sight of a riot or a revolution, but it is going to be a revolution. And it's starting off with the Lord setting up his men to bring out the spirit of the Lord when it comes to these scriptures, condemning this place, man. But it is going to get physical, man. And that's what we got to prepare ourselves for. And the Lord is going to defend his men, the ones that's in the spirit, man. Because this is the Lord's program. So eventually, man, you devils can get upset. Your house is still going to come back, bring your kingdom down, and you're still going to go into captivity, man. You know, for all the triosities, all the wickedness that you done did against Yahweh Shem Yahushua and his people. You know, so to the next time, you know, we're hoping and praying to the brothers out there that's in the spirit, that's in the faith, that's doing the work, that this lesson may edify. You know, to the next time, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders that rule well, that taught us the truth, that labor day in and day out. And salutation to the fellow laborers that's out there pushing this word in all truth and sincerity, the fellow yokemen, and then the ministry of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Till next time, Shalom.